new show. This is a show where I'm going to try to improvise some comedy. It's called Keep Laughing. So let me think of that. Now I'm going to try to think of a situation, a scenario. Let's say you're applying for a job as a lawyer, or no, how about an architect? Okay. Now this is the weird thing about the job that you're applying for. It's as an architect, and it's at a place called. How about let's call the place Stevens Bizarro um, Architectural Firm. Oh, I don't know, like something like that. And let's just say that now this is the weird thing about getting this job. Okay, the interview, the only way that they're going to hire you is if you have to go into the office like caked in mud. You have to roll around in the mud. You got to be all caked with it, but it's got to cover up your body so that you're not, exposing yourself indecently or anything. You got to make sure your whole body is covered in mud, and they just have eye holes in the mud that you can see through it. But then you're probably thinking, like, when you're walking around in public with wearing a suit of mud, it's just all you're not wearing a suit; it's just all mud. Well, isn't it going to start to shed after a while and start to dissipate, and the mud that you were wearing is going to start to expose your private parts, and people are going to you're going to be you're going to be arrested for indecent exposure because you're walking around naked in public. Well, there's a certain kind of mud. Okay, now this mud has it has a elemental type of integrity to it that really bonds with the human body in such a way that it forms like kind of it's like a mud suit. And this suit of mud actually, okay, so that's the weird thing. The weird thing is that this interview that you're going on, a lot of interviews actually require you to wear like a suit and tie, sometimes a three-piece suit or like a suit with, you got to make sure that it's like all well tailored and proportioned, and it's such a pain in the ass. Well, this will be a pain in the ass too, but I don't know which is more of a pain in the ass. Wearing a suit of mud that is, anyways. So this suit of mud that you're wearing, so it's kind of like but so you're probably asking, why would an architectural firm that's trying to hire an architect, the field of architecture is, in most respects, I mean, it's considered to be a very conservative type of field. I mean, it's not like a place where you're going to see a lot of people with like long hair, and I mean, people with like tattoos and body piercings and stuff. But this is an alternative architectural type of firm that they're looking for really freaked out hippie type of really transcendent people, because this architecture firm designs as architectural projects that are kind of in another realm. So in order to be an architect for this architectural firm, you have to have a transcendent mind that is connected to this other realm. You see where I'm going with this? So that's why you're wearing the suit of mud to this interview for the job as the architect, because this architectural firm it exists in this material plane of existence that we're in, but the houses and the buildings that the architects that work for this architectural firm, the houses and buildings that they design exist in some kind of other realm. That's not like a realm of the material world, but it's like, you ever heard the word Maya? Maya is the illusion, is the concrete material world that we see, beyond which is the real reality, the real transcendent reality that is is forever where that exists. So that's why when you go into this for this job as an architect in this firm, though the firm itself and may exist in this material world of concrete reality, the the houses and the buildings that are going to be designed are going to be this other realm. So, anyways, that's why you got to wear the suit of mud, because then it's like you're a flower child. You're like a hippie. So this mud that you're wearing, it's an alternative mud, and it's kind of like this mud that it's I don't know. It's like it's like it's a mud that bonds to your body in a way that's not going to dissipate. It's going to maintain its integrity, and it's also going to allow for like the growth of vegetation and plant life. So when you go, they're going to make sure that your mud butt suit is up to code when you get to the front door. Let's say okay. Well, okay. Let's say we're at the front door, at the reception desk, and let's say the receptionist, his name is Mindy, and she, as a receptionist, part of her job is to inspect your suit and to see that the mud suit that you're wearing is up to code, and that it, you know, and being up to code. In order to be up to code, it has to um, have the to prove to be fertile ground for you know um, uh, the growth of plant life and vegetation on your plant suit. I mean on your plant suit, on your mud suit. So she has like some these seeds that so you like in most like in nature, usually when you try to grow something, it'll take a few months, or even a year, or however long it takes to, if you're trying to grow watermelon or tomato or something like that, it doesn't happen overnight. But she has these seeds that spawn vegetation and plant life in a matter of seconds. So it's kind of like an accelerated growth of plant life and vegetation. So this vegetation and plant life, the vegetation and plant life that it grows is it pretty much happens in seconds. And what more can I say? So then once you get into the office, you really want to get this job because you studied hard to be an architect, and this your studies have it's been a grueling uphill battle to learn all the um, not only the geometrical types of analyses that go into the successful work of an architect. Figuring out like you've studied really hard all the mathematical and geometrical aspects of being an architect, but you've also have tried to develop your creative skills, because being an architect really requires both, your hardcore mathematical and scientific mathematical skills, such as, geometry, and um, these things are really important. These things are fundamental to being an architect, but also it's also a creative discipline. And as such, it requires the development of Well, that side of your brain too. So the left and the right side of the brain are involved in the work of an architect. Um, so in order to develop the mathematical side of your brain, you've had to study for hours on end, many different mathematical disciplines. In order to develop the creative side of your brain, you've read books, you've listened to music, you've went to see plays, you've went to see paintings, anything that is a flight of the imagination or creativity. You've tried to emulate some of these things, and you know that the integration of the analytical and the creative sides of your brain are what would make you a fine architect. But now the weird part is you're applying for a job as an architect at a firm that requires you to wear a mud suit. A mud suit that is made up of a certain type of mud that allows for the growth of vegetation and plant life within seconds. Because, and again, the reason you got to wear this mud suit is you have to have a transcendent mind, and a truly transcendent mind is a mind that is in touch with nature. And this mud suit sure shows that you're in touch with nature. Nature is in touch with you. It's like growing on you. So you have to, have a mud suit to get into this firm. And anyways, so you walk into the company, and it's a beautiful woman at the front desk. She has huge tits. Okay. She's holding a hose. You're wearing a mud suit. So you're standing at the front desk or the reception desk, and you're wearing a mud suit, and the receptionist is holding a hose, and she sprays the hose on you to see if it's what kind of a mud suit it is. It turns out that it's just regular mud. It's not the special kind of mud that you can grow like plant life and vegetation on instantaneously. It's just regular mud. So she sprays the hose on you. All the mud clears off. You're standing there naked. You don't have the job. So now you got a problem. Now you're naked in an office of architects. You're standing naked in an office of architects, and these are all, as it turns out, they're all. So it's not as big of a problem as he thought it was, because it's a architectural firm made up of all beautiful female architects. So you're standing there naked after having your mud suits sprayed off of you by the receptionist with the hose. So you're standing there in this firm of architects, and now it's your birthday suit, which is they call your suit that you're that when you're naked, I guess, is that what they call it? I guess so, something like that. And anyway, so but then you say, okay, so do I have the job? No, your mud suit is not a real mud suit. We sprayed it off with a hose. Now you're naked. You're no real architect. You're not like, well, you may be an architect, but you're not the type of architect that is going to work at this firm. You know why? Because this firm requires architects with a transcendent mind, a mind that has seen into other realms, that can see into this realm where the architecture that in other words, the architecture that we come up with, it's for buildings and houses that exist in another realm, not in this material realm of concrete reality, this fleeting temporal realm of mere mortals. No, this architectural firm designs houses and buildings that exists in another dimension, another realm. And you have to wear a mud suit. I mean, in order to get this job, you need to have shown up for this interview in a mud suit that doesn't dissipate the way the mud suit that you are wearing. The way that the mud suit that you're wearing, it dissipated so easily. We sprayed it with a hose, and it's like now you're naked, and now you're standing in a firm of architects. They're beautiful female architects with big tits, but but it's still it's a professional environment, and you're standing there naked. Nice going. There you are in your mud suit, and now you don't even have a mud suit. Now you're just standing there naked, and so now, okay, so now you ask, like, how are you gonna get back? How the fuck can you get, like, is somebody okay? So now, okay, now you're standing naked in an architectural firm, and you're trying to figure out how to get home. What the fuck are you gonna do? You're naked. How do you get home? You're naked. What do you do? So you're thinking to yourself, okay, you're standing there naked. You feel like you've been deceived, you've been hoodwinked, okay? And you're standing naked in an architectural firm, and you're trying to figure out how to get home. So you kind of assume it yourself, because so of course they're gonna you know they gotta provide me either with some clothes or some clothing to wear, or some kind of like escort to get back home, like some kind of, and it's like the answer is no. It's like, you figure it out. You're like, I can't figure this out. It's like, okay, now that you've like tricked me into showing up to an interview as an architect, for an architectural firm in a mud suit, trying to convince me that this mud suit that I'm wearing was necessary because this architectural firm is for transcendent minds that design architecture in another realm, and that's why I could wear this mud suit. Now that you tricked me into thinking that, okay, you gotta somehow provide some kind of way for me to get home. I'm naked. How the fuck am I gonna get home? You can't, and the answer that they give you is no. You have to figure what out. I can't. There's nothing to figure out. I mean, if a person walks out of a downtown building, like an architectural firm, in naked, you can't get away with that. Obviously, am I right? So then, what do you do? And they say, you figure out. You say, like I said, there's nothing to figure out. I'm standing naked in an architectural firm. I need clothing and I need a ride home. What do I do? Well, I don't know. Like I said, you figure it out. Okay, this is crazy. Figure what out? There's nothing to figure out. There is nothing to figure out. Figure what out? Figure what out? Yes, figure what out? There is a way to get home. If you really figure it out, you're standing there naked in an architectural firm. Figure it out. There's a way to. Let me think. Let me think. I'm standing in the sewer system? No. Yeah, the sewer system. I'm not, no, what the fuck you expect? Yeah, the sewer system. No, fuck it, I'm not going to get home by the sewer system. Okay, we're just kidding, because the sewer system doesn't go all the way back to your house. Anyways, let me think. No, are you telling me there really is a way to get home naked from a downtown building? Yes, there is. Okay, let me think. Hmm. Um, I don't know. Do you see that warping of time and space? There's a time warp right next to my desk through which you can travel time and space from this office to your condominium. Oh, I see it. So he goes through the time warp and he ends up back in his condominium.